Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon and Tony. Don't you ever feel bad about ripping Adam Silver? Like, when you wonder whether he's actually living and breathing, you should feel terrible. Just awful.
You know, he's here. Can we get him off the set?
Taller than we thought, too. He looks like 6'4" and a
No,
half,
he's big.
6'5".
He's big.
You think?
He's big. Just get him out of here.
Got that principal stare going.
Fabulous.
He just walked out here. He's coming back.
Gone, boys and girls.
No, he's coming back.
Welcome to PTI, everybody. In today's episode, the Clippers bounce the Spurs. Manny Pacquiao claims he was hurt.
Please.
And NBA Commissioner, your boy Adam Silver, lives and breathes on our set for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with Steph Curry winning the MVP by a wide margin. So you have the most valuable player in basketball on a team that won by far the most games this season, and a team that has sailed through its first 5 playoff games, winning by an average of nearly 10 points a game. Wilbon, aren't you starting to feel that this championship is Golden State's to lose?
Almost. Almost.
What are you waiting for?
Well, you know what really benefits Golden State and Steph Curry? They don't have to play both the Clippers and San Antonio because one's been bounced already, and we'll get to that. That helps Golden State as well. There are not too many teams out there that are left that can beat Golden State. Memphis, without Mike Conley, certainly to me is not one of them. It has a special feel to it. I voted for Steph Curry with nothing against James Harden. You could make the case for James Harden, but Tony, I thought the Golden State is as good as it is because Steph Curry had as great a season as he had. To me, I'm not going to say it was a no-brainer, but I felt comfortable voting for Steph Curry.
I thought it was an absolute no-brainer.
Did you?
Absolutely. You don't have to apologize to James Harden. His team didn't win as many games as the Golden State team won.
No, that's right.
Steph Curry was the best player on the best team, and that's the point I want to make because I've liked them for 2 or 3 years, as you know. And I think that it is theirs to lose right now.
By the way, only 3 out of the last 15 MVPs have actually won in the season which they were MVP. Does that dissuade you at all?
No, that is a statistic. That's all that is. It doesn't mean anything. Because that means that some have won. So I discount that. I mean, I look around at the league at the moment, and yes, the Spurs are gone. They're gone. Cleveland just lost Kevin Love.
That's right.
You know, that matters.
I mean, the Clippers who beat them last year in a 7-game series.
You look at Golden State, they're really good. They proved it over the length and breadth of the season. It seems to me that right now it is theirs to lose.
It does, Tony. And you know what's interesting, and I heard Bob Ryan, Hall of Famer Bob Ryan, tell you this on your radio show. He thinks that the backcourt, which is half of which is Steph Curry, the backcourt of Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, maybe the greatest offensive backcourt of all time.
Yeah.
And when you have that going for you, Tone, and you got Bogut. Remember, Bogut is such a wild card for them. We don't talk about him. They got a lot working, but it starts with Steph Curry.
I'll give you this one statistic that the crack staff gave me today.
Okay.
Golden State, including the playoffs, is 44-0 when they hold a team under 100. They've played 87 games already. They hold teams under 100 all the time.
They do.
They're a great defensive team. They're a great offensive team. I know that your boy Charles Wade Barkley says that jump shooters. Yeah, but
they do more than that.
The Knicks of my youth were a jump shooting team and they won, so you can win.
Okay. Let's move to another Pacific Division point guard who just had a career highlight, Chris Paul. The Clippers won the biggest game in franchise history, Saturday's Game 7 against the Spurs, because Chris Paul on one leg rather heroically led the Clippers past San Antonio. Paul might not even be able to play tonight, and the Clippers are in Houston having to face James Harden in a Game 1 of a second-round series. Tony, given the circumstances, do you expect a hangover for the Clippers after beating the Spurs? No,
there should be absolutely no hangover. They're professional basketball players who prep to get into the playoffs and know what they have to do. Now, if you tell me that Chris Paul's not going to play, I'm going to change my answer. Okay, but I'm going to assume he's going to play, and if he plays, then what would happen? Because they have just a limited amount of rest in the regular season. Sometimes you play back-to-back frequently. So, no, I don't expect any hangover. They've got to go to Houston. By the way, Houston is a good team.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like, by any stretch of the imagination, they're supposed to win.
Agreed, Tony.
They had a better finish than the Clippers.
Last year, the Clippers beat Golden State in a very emotional, for different reasons, with all their owners' craziness going on, 7-game series. They went just like this circumstance, to Oklahoma City and won Game 1. Now, they didn't win that series.
Right.
But, Tony, Chris Paul's absence, look, it is so much bigger if he misses a game, and I would sit him out. I think Doc Rivers is inclined to sit him out, understanding the hamstring pull can just get worse and worse, and you can't have him missing games down the line in this series. I think Chris Paul, I know Chris Paul wants to play. If I'm Doc Rivers, I have to convince him, you have to sit this game. Tony, Chris Paul in this series was magical. What he did, look, I know Steph Curry's the MVP, but Chris Paul ain't but that far below him. It's not as spectacular, the shooting displays, but he is a great point guard at the height of his career.
That's fine.
And if he's out,
fine. Contrary to popular belief, the Rockets actually had a better record than the Spurs. I know everybody wants to talk about the Spurs being out, and they want to say the Spurs are old, and it's a proud team. They weren't old. They went on the road and lost at the buzzer in a 7-game series. They just got beat. They aren't old. Yeah. The Rockets are good, and Dwight Howard did not play at all, not 1 minute this year against the Clippers.
He gets a chance.
So,
he gets a chance
you
now.
know,
Tony, one of the best 7-game series I've ever seen. One of the best. I'm not going to say it's
the one
best.
that was done.
The one that's done.
The first-round series that's done by June, nobody will remember.
Awful.
The most surprising team in the playoffs is the Washington Wizards. They've now won all 5 of their playoff games. They're 3-0 on the road. They swept Toronto, who they hadn't beaten all season. They're up 1-0 on Atlanta, who they hadn't beaten all season. Randy Whitman, who everybody had fired,
that's not going to happen.
Hasn't lost a game. Wilbon, why are the Wizards unbeatable all of a sudden?
Paul Pierce, John
Wall. He was with him.
Otto Porter Jr.
He wasn't with him. He wasn't with him.
3-point shooting. I said in that order for a reason. I loved what Paul Pierce did at the beginning of the playoffs when he put Toronto on notice. And I'm told from somebody who's talked to Paul Pierce that Paul Pierce is shocked that Toronto, the city of Toronto, and all the people there, including the basketball team apparently, took the bait. That's what Paul Pierce does. Paul Pierce is a savvy veteran. And Tony, he challenged Wall and Beal, his own teammates, to be great. And you know what? They've bordered on great, each one of them, in multiple games in the playoffs. So I'm going Pierce before I go Wall, Porter, and three-point shooting.
I'm sort of stunned by this, as we've talked about many times, because we watched this team after the All-Star break have a losing record.
Yeah.
In fact, we watched them have a losing record in January, February, and March combined. Now, maybe I shouldn't be so shocked, because Toronto also had a losing record after the All-Star game, and Atlanta
9-9 in their last 18.
That's right, and without a go-to guy.
That's right.
But still and all, one thing Randy Whitman has done that is different is he has played Otto Porter. He buried him for a year and a half.
Maybe he wasn't ready.
He's played him. Guys like Chris Humphries and Russell Butler, who got a lot of run early,
getting none.
They're getting none. And
Paul
Pierce, who appeared to me to be a dead man walking, has revitalized himself. Yes, he is.
Crushing people.
And they take threes, and everybody said, oh, you got to fire Whitman because the team doesn't take any threes. Well, now they take threes.
Not firing anybody. Right. Tony, this team also
will they beat Atlanta?
Better suited for the postseason because of the way they're
Will they beat Atlanta?
I said that before game 1.
So you have
them
in the
getting to the conference finals. I do.
All right.
You don't?
Not yet.
Oh, you're not climbing aboard that Wizards bandwagon?
Atlanta proved in the way that Golden State proved over the course of a season that they were the best team in the conference.
Okay, well, we'll get some time to watch that one. Let's go to the fight. Some would call it the dance. Floyd Mayweather got almost no resistance from Manny Pacquiao in winning a lopsided, unanimous decision. Pacquiao landed only 19% of his punches and claimed later his injured right arm needed an inflammatory but was denied. Tony, there was so much melodrama surrounding this fight, from domestic abuse to credentials denied to an unexciting fight. Will this week ultimately elevate Floyd Mayweather's standing in boxing or not?
No, I don't think it will, because he didn't fight Manny Pacquiao in Manny Pacquiao's prime. He was 3 to 5 years past his prime. In his last big fight, he got knocked out. He claims something's wrong with him, but I mean, you can make a judgment on that one way or another. I mean, it's a defensive fight. A lot of people thought it was very boring. They wish they could get their $100 back.
Too bad they can't.
So I think his reputation as a great fighter has already been established. I don't think this adds to it. Doesn't hurt him.
Tony, I agree with you. His credentials as a great fighter were already established. And people, what gets me is the dopes out there who thought they were going to get a dramatic, exciting fight. That's not what Floyd Mayweather does. And if anybody was paying attention the previous 19 years, this is exactly the way he always fights. Manny Pacquiao, whose trainer told us on PTI, you weren't here, told us Thursday or Friday, Freddie Roach, all the things Manny was going to do. He was going to go to the body, he's going to cut off the angles, he's going to hit him as hard. He didn't do jack.
Right.
Manny Pacquiao did nothing. You want a $100 refund? Right, Pacquiao. He did squat douche. As for Mayweather, Tony, I think the week doesn't help him at all, because before he was flying under the radar as if there was no domestic abuse. The previous 5 or 6 fights after incarceration, people just start paying attention. They got sanctimonious. Floyd Mayweather is a particular style of fighter, and you're not going to get anything else out of him.
I think you have to realize that what he's great at, the greatness lies in his defensive ability.
He's a tactician.
Now, if you do that and you're not an offensive fighter, then for a lot of people it will seem boring. Even though when a guy only lands 19% of his punches, it's because the other guy is slipping
and blocking punches.
Yes, left and right. So you're not going to get the credit you deserve as a fighter. But he's 48-0. He's a pretty great fighter.
I got sick of Floyd Mayweather. And the denying credentials to women who were critical of him and his domestic abuse situation. Denying credentials, really? I mean, by the end of it, you will say Mayweather just looks awful. Get out of my sight. That's what I feel now.
Alex Rodriguez hit number 660 the other night on a pinch hit homer, the first of his career. That ties A-Rod with Willie Mays, a signpost that was supposed to be worth $6 million to A-Rod. But the Yankees say they're not going to pay him for it. Referring to language in the contract, Brian Cashman says, quote, "We have the right but not the obligation to do something, and that's it. We're going to honor our responsibilities of the contract," unquote. Wilbon is siding with the Yankees or with A-Rod?
The Yankees, and this is very brief for me. They don't owe A-Rod jack. They owe him nothing. A-Rod cheated to get these home run numbers, at least some of them. I don't know how many. 6, 8, 50, 150. I don't know. No one is ever going to know the answer to that. But, Tony, we're at a point now where no home run numbers mean anything. None. Nobody's. I mean, if you're a rookie and you hit some home runs now and they're testing, fine. But A-Rod's numbers are so empty. What do they mean? He's not Willie Mays to me, and I know he's not Willie Mays to you. So whatever the Yankees do with A-Rod, fine.
This is a very passionate argument that you make. I want to see the contract. If the contract says that it's 660 and 715 and 809,000, whatever the numbers are, if it says we're going to pay you $6 million bonus, then they're going to have to pay him.
They could, but they're not obliged to. They say.
He's going to sue, and the Baseball Players Association is going to join with him, and then somebody, either an arbitrator or a judge, is going to look at this and make an interpretation. The amazing thing to me is A-Rod right now is tied for second for homers on the Yankees. He's in third place in RBI. He's helping them win. They are in first place. They hate his guts.
All good.
They wish he would go away. They don't care if he hits 10,000 home runs. They hate him.
So you didn't see a celebration of 660?
I'm going to tell you something. That was on the road in a pinch hit home run situation. The Yankees have been petty in this. They are being petty. And
they cheated and lied twice.
All of that is true. Okay, did they turn their back on Andy Pettit? No, he cheated too. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's see whether I have the onions to stick it to your boy, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
You're taking up for A-Rod. We've reached the low point. And later, do we really need to start paying attention to the Astros?
You took up for A-Rod for 10 years when everybody, including me, said he was disingenuous.
That was then.
Because you had dinner with him. You loved him.
Lunch.
Whatever.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I've been tough on NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, but the truth is I'm very proud of what he's accomplished on behalf of bald men everywhere. Welcome to the program, Adam, and thank you. Mike, we're going to start with you because I know you're exercised about the Spurs and the Clippers.
Well, Spurs and Clippers, and Adam's not hearing this for the first time, but because the division winners, of course, are seated at the top or seated higher, we get Clippers-Spurs in a fabulous 7-game series too early. Adam, I think you think this is too early, too. If you do, what can be done about it, and can it be done immediately?
Well, I'll begin. So your assumption is they would have just rolled through the competition.
Maybe not rolled.
And they would have met in the conference finals?
Not talking about even second round.
Well, I'd only say, well, one, I don't want to take anything away from what was a fantastic first-round series. The issue is we reward division winners. And as I've said before, there's very little you can win in this league. And you can win your division, you can win a conference, and, of course, the championship. And I guess we have to go one way or the other. Either divisions matter, and you have to reward a team for winning the division and hence give them a higher seed, or decide divisions don't matter. And so we have a competition committee meeting coming up. We have a general managers meeting and then another owners meeting in July, and we're going to discuss it all 3 meetings.
What's your gut reaction on whether it will or should change?
My gut is that it shouldn't change. Well, at least I'm not ready to go 1 to 16 in terms of seeding. I don't want to go to extreme place. It had a huge impact on the schedule. On the divisions, maybe they've outlived their usefulness. Because my sense is right now, that's what I mean. If we're going to say divisions matter, then we have to go all out, and it has to mean something to win it. Fans have to understand what team, what division their teams are in. And I don't get the sense now anyone really understands it.
Okay. All right. We'll move on from that to something that's going to happen tonight. Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan meeting, which probably is going to mean a lot of hacking and sending two big, well-known guys to the foul line, interrupting stretches of game. There's some coaches, current and past, who really hate this and want the rule changed. Where do you see that coming down in the future?
You know, for those coaches, it always depends who's on your team, right, in terms of whether it's an effective strategy. I think I've heard some from some of the greatest at our owners' meetings. Michael Jordan, Larry's attended those meetings, Larry Bird, and their view is guys got to make their free throws. And that's influenced me. In my old job, I used to run NBA entertainment. I used to say we got to do away with this because it's bad television. The other thing I've learned is when you actually then go look at the ratings, people are not tuning out. I mean, it's fascinating strategy for a lot of fans. And also, you and I talk a lot about youth basketball. I keep getting emails from youth coaches saying, make it matter, make guys have to hit their free throws. So I'm reluctant to make that change. I would say, once again, we're going to discuss it at the competition committee and with our general managers. And to make that change requires approval of a supermajority of owners. 2/3 of the owners have to vote that change. And so I don't think it's going to come quickly. I think we got to study it. We got to look at all the data. But my sense is we should leave it alone for now.
Let me get to a couple of issues that have been meaningful to me. The 76ers, I think, are a disgrace. I think they try to lose. And I'd like to know how you feel about the structure of the league, which seems to allow them to seek an advantage by losing.
Well, I think even when you say try to lose, I don't think you mean the guys on the floor.
No, the organization.
Right. As an organization, they are rebuilding, and they've made a decision that in order to rebuild, they got to position themselves to get higher draft picks. So it's a legitimate strategy in the league right now. I don't think by any means it's a disgrace. I was in favor of changing the draft lottery to make it a little bit more disadvantaged to the teams with the worst record in terms of the top picks, and the owners didn't approve that. It's a close call. I think the draft still has to serve its purpose. If you take away the notion of a draft that in essence helps those teams with the worst records get the best draft picks, then you can question what the very draft is for. And so, you know, the interesting thing with the 76ers, I'd say there's a marketplace of ideas out there. And I think if everyone were convinced it worked, every team would be doing it because our teams are so competitive. I like to see over time whether that's really an effective strategy. I mean, I think they're free to try it. They haven't violated any of our rules. I get it. I'm a fan, too. It's not great basketball to watch, but I don't have an easy solution to it.
Let me get to another fan issue, at least from my point of view. Greg Popovich has led the charge in this. He's a great coach. He's won a lot of championships. At his whim, he rests players. They don't play. Sometimes he doesn't even take them on the road. If I'm plopping down $150 for a ticket and they're only coming to my town once because he doesn't do it at home, where am I for the money I've shelled out?
No, I'm a fan, too, and so it bothers me. On the other hand, I'm extraordinarily reluctant as the commissioner or the league office to dictate minutes to coaches, and especially great coaches. So I don't have an easy answer to that. One solution, though, is he's doing it to get his players more rest. And so we're focused on the schedule and how to create fewer back-to-backs, fewer 4 games out of 5 nights.
Would you then go to the coaches and say, we're a star-driven league? We're an entertainment league. We got to put our best players out there. Now we've done this for you. Now do this for us.
Yeah, I will go to the coaches, and I do have that discussion with the coaches. I think it's different to saying that we're all in this together. This is a partnership among teams in the league to put the best product on the floor. And it's very different, though, to legislate it and require them to play them a certain number of minutes. That I don't want to do.
You have a tremendous amount of power. I'd like you to just make me one promise that the Bulls don't win, because he will be unbearable. Unbearable if the Bulls don't win.
How did we get to that?
That's what I'm asking. It's a small request.
I just root for the referees.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Adam.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, Rory McIlroy wins the match play. American Pharaoh wins the Derby, and Tiger and Lindsey Vonn break up.
Oh, no, say it ain't so.
I know you're crushed on it.
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron.
Comes alive.
The NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
The new college football playoff.
College football playoff national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Your home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.
Happy time. People have a 26th birthday, Rory McIlroy. McIlroy can celebrate not only his birthday, but his win in the match play championship yesterday. That was a 10th tour win for the world's #1 player. Joins only Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus as players in the last 75 years who won 10 or more times before reaching 26.
But you see how long it took him? He couldn't get to the fight. Given what those tickets cost and you couldn't get to the fight? I mean, I know you got a gig and everything, but still.
Happy anniversary, Victor Espinoza. On this day, 13 years ago, aboard War Emblem, you won your first Kentucky Derby. Saturday, Espinoza won his third and second straight Kentucky Derby. He was on American Pharaoh, who won going 3 wide down the stretch. Wilbon, this is where you get overly excited and start predicting a Triple Crown winner, right?
Wait, they had the Derby this past weekend? Are you sure?
It's a really good race.
Because nobody saw it.
Yes, they did. It was a really good race. Happy trails, Lindsey Vonn and Tiger. America's former fun couple announced yesterday 2 separate statements. They were splitting due to hectic lives. Not only did both talk about their hectic lives, but both said they would cherish their memories together. Wilbon, who do you think dumped who?
Why does somebody have to dump somebody? What, Tiger can't get another date? Lindsey Vonn, you look at her, she can't get another date? What are you talking about?
Very decisive
So
on your
old.
part. Let's go to the big finish. We made no errors at all.
None.
The Astros go for their 11th straight win tonight. Why are they playing so well?
Pitching, they never blow leads. Not yet. The Brewers fired Ron Renicky, hired Craig Counsell. Does that make sense?
They were the worst team in all of baseball in terms of record. You're not going to hate on that, are you?
No.
Dale Jr. won in Talladega. Is that a big deal?
That's a big deal to all the drivers. He emotionally got after the win. Jameis Winston's contract with the Buccaneers prevents him from playing baseball. Okay by you?
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to risk any injury. You're spending a lot of money on this guy. That's perfectly fine. Last one. The Bulls are at the Cavs tonight in Game 1. Who you got in this game?
No Love, no J.R. Smith. The Bulls had better. If they intend to win this series, they better win tonight.
And if they don't?
Never win the series.
Series is over. So Game 1
LeBron always gets it on the road. He always gets it on the road.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Bulls probably got to get 2 on the road. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes. Oh, yeah, it's a ball night.
Whole series decided tonight. Wilbon said that. Only Game 1.
Ball night.
6.
Big ball night.
Who really cares?
Ball night, baby.
Two of baseball's best go head-to-head in interleague action when the Tigers head to St. Louis to face the Cardinals.
And that one is gone.
The pregame at 7 Eastern, first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN and ESPN Radio.